So here we go. This is all dry now, and I'm going to put in the tops of the posts. Now they'll probably, since this has snow on it, the bushes here will have snow on it. They will have snow on it, but I'm just loading the corner of my brush to just kind of put in a little circular shape on the top. Nothing too dramatic. I probably have too much of a circle there, just a little rounded top. And I'm just going to add a little bit of white to the brown. This is the coffee bean that comes in this set, and I'm just going to blend this in to this portion here. Doesn't need to be perfect. And again, I got my posts way wider than I wish them to be, but that's okay. They're very rustic. Now we need to put in the little hollows at the bottom of our posts. I'll show you what I mean. See on this one, you see how they have little indentations because the snow melts when it's really close around these. But first let's put in this little grassy things. And I'm just going to do that. I could do that with linen. I think I'm going to try to do it just with the corner of my number 10. You notice I just got a little bit on the corner and just dragging up. You can mix a little bit with white to make some a lighter color. You could do this with a liner brush if you're more comfortable with that. You can mix it with linen, or you could bring in the linen color for some of them, just to give it some variety. Some of them can be much longer. So little pieces coming up from there. Okay, so now we can do our little shadows underneath our posts here. And how I'm going to do that is I have some gray and some blue over here on my palette paper. This is the Richardson's palette paper, Gray Matters. I think it's Richardson. Yeah. Anyways, it works well for me, and then I can reuse it over and over and over again, and even when the paint's dry. So until this is all filled up, I can use this, and then I just crumple up it and throw it away. So you can also, some people use a piece of glass or other things to use, but I like this, very convenient. Okay, I'm going to get some white because I don't want it to be super dark gray, and I'm going to bring the white with the gray in there and maybe a touch of blue, just a touch of the blue, and we can just create some hollows. I'm going to come back over and bring some more white in, but I'm just creating the hollows. And if I want to add a little more blue in an area. Okay. And then I will blend it out with some white. Just blend that out with some white. Now this is where the roadside's coming up close, so that all blends in well. Now the white will not be totally opaque, so it will come through some of the color, but that just takes it down a little bit. Takes down the starkness of it. And just creates that illusion of it darkening around the post. So there you have your little shading cast by the post. Okay, so we have the pathway here. just going to bring in just a little bit of streaking white, just to bring that up a little bit. All right, we've got the shadowing on the roof. I'm going over all the stuff here. Okay, so time to bring in just a touch of snow, maybe to the top of the posts. I wanted to say porch posts, and I don't know why. There is no porch on here. Probably because I'm working on a snowman porch sign, and that's what's on my mind. Okay, so snow on these bushes. In the background, they need just a touch of snow. I don't know if I want berries or not. We can add berries to them if we like, or leave them as is. Okay, scruffy brush, we're going to be using just the top portion here. Tap it off. Notice it's just that little area, and we're just going to add some snow. And I'm kind of going in an arc. Bring it down. There's different levels of the bushes. Okay. So we have our bushes. Now you could put some green in these, but this is really deep, the depths of winter, so we don't need it. And if you notice some areas beside your posts that need to be tidied up a little bit, like some of this has got some raw edges, but that doesn't mean that your porch post might not have some rough edges, because these are old rustic posts. And they may have some edges that are just very rough. So, do we need a snowman? Or should we leave it be? Maybe we could put some chickens over there. Let's take a break. So we got to figure out, I decided I wanted a snowman in here after all, and just for fun. But so that the white of the snowman shows up, I need to make this a little more blue behind kind of the gray blue that was in here. And I'm going to just put in just a faint bit of the gray blue, almost like the dirty snow here. And like this is in shadow over here. So we're just going to scrub this in. We'll add a little bit more white. We don't want it to be too dark. We want it to still be like snow in the shadow or something, that nature. More snow, more white, I mean. So a little more blue with a touch of the gray in it. Just bring it on around. Lots of white. And if I mess up my fence post, no big deal. I can go back over that. So I'm going to want more white, just to make that look a bit darker back there. Could be totally messing this up, but so be it. And then beneath the snowman, he's got a little bit darker color. Right along in there. Okay, there we go. So we can call that good. Since I already have the brown out still on my palette, I rinse my brush out and I go into that brown. I go ahead and I bring this fence post back down. There we go. Just fine. Fine and dandy. So I am going to stipple in or pounce in him using, I guess I can use my, oh, where'd I put it? It's a little bit wet, so I'm going to get my other one. You don't want to use these wet. You want them to be perfectly dry. I could really try to dry it out. And since I'm not noticing my other one close at hand, I will do that. So how I do that, just so you're aware, is I just take a rag and I just carefully pinch every little bit of moisture out of it. And I may take it to the blow dryer or something if I still feel too much moisture in here. I think we'll be fine. It does have moisture, but I think we'll get the snowman done. Now this is a little bit big for the snowman. If you have a smaller size, it may work better for you. So let me get it just on the one edge, and I'm gonna pounce in the snowman. Pounce him in. Now down at the bottom, it doesn't matter if it's a little bit darker because the shadowing down at the base is fine. So I've got him pounced in with the white. And then up here, we'll pounce him in, but around the edge, we'll have just a touch of the gray. Now you could do this with the blue, but it just kind of shades where that is coming down. Because this brush has got too much moisture in it, it's not behaving. So I have the smaller one. This should work, especially for his head. And we'll just pounce in. I'm kind of going over his face. Well, I shouldn't say kind of. I am going over his face. But I know I just dot in his eyes and what have you. So I'm pouncing in his body, getting a touch of the gray on my brush, blending it out by pouncing it. Oh, sorry, you're not in. Pouncing it. A little too much gray. I want to lighten it up. I'm getting some extra white on the edge that's gray. Then I'm going to come right along the edge and just kind of smoosh that darker color in there. I may go along the bottom. If I feel it's too dark, I will bring in some more white, which I need to get some out of my palette. Now I have a couple of snowman tutorials. One's a face, and then one's a regular snowman. Now I'm wiping the brush out so I get as much gray out as possible. So I'm just wiping, I'm not rinsing it, I don't want it wet. So I'm trying to get as much gray out without getting it wet, and I'm only going into white. And I pounce it on my palette paper, and it looks like only white is coming out of it. So I'm gonna go over this to blend that gray back down. I want it to be a faint color or right along the edge only. You may pick some back up on your brush, but you see how it's blending it down? So all that works just fine. So I probably should have put it underneath that top and not, let me do that with the blue. Okay, let's shadow underneath his middle portion with the blue. Just bring it in here. So just like his top is sitting on that bottom layer. And then I go into some more white, kind of blend it out. We don't want it too stark. Perfect, I like that. Perfect, perfect. Okay, we got that going. And so we can do his scarf. What color do we want? Maybe we could go with the barn red, because that way it would match. So the barn was the cardinal. Or maybe we'll just go with cardinal. Don't have to mix it with any darker colors. Get it over here on my palette for you. Sorry for any glare. I have the overhead light on. Okay, so his scarf is pretty narrow. So we'll go in with a liner brush and we'll get that taken care of. Now, do I want my very small? The number 2 liner I think will work just fine. The number 2 liner, let me get it all in there, work it in, and then just carefully pull in his scarf. It's just a curved line around his neck. Which should be his neck, and a little knot on the side where it flares out. And then maybe a portion comes down the front. And there you have his little scarf. So what have we got left? We got his hat. So you may want to switch to a smaller, like a number 6 flat for his hat. And that's definitely needs to be black, I do believe. Or you can use a brown, whichever you prefer. I'm just going to get a touch of black out. And we will, oops, and then I dip into the red. Bad girl. Okay, I just wiped it out. I didn't bother washing it. And I'm just going to follow top of his hat. And then here's the brim. It doesn't have to be perfect. He's got a wonky hat on. And just fill it in. And I think he's going to have a red band on his hat. So that you can see the top of his hat. I'm going to go into a touch of white just on the corner of my brush. And it kind of went all the way across. But we'll just kind of bring that lighter line in a small arc and give it a little highlight there on top. And like it's coming down behind his head there. It's hard when you're in a tight space, and I get in a hurry, so I need to freshen his face there. And then I could do it probably with the chisel edge of this brush rather than going to a liner. Let's see. I can always fix my mistake if I totally botch it. Let's see. I want it to be on the chisel edge because I'm going to be going right along the band. Just create a band on his hat. Looks like he's really a styling snowman. Okay, so let's go back with our number two liner. And this is where you can use a stylus for this or what have you. And we're going to put his little buttons on. Now remember, he's not a flat person, so he's round. So we're going to kind of make him in a little bit of an arc. And then we can do his 2 eyes right underneath his hat. So his mouth. Well, let's go with the nose. I think this is where I should pull out some pure orange. I didn't have orange out before, so I need to grab some. So pure orange, just a touch. I'm just going to open the lid. This is a big fat no-no because it puts air in your bottle, but I didn't feel like squeezing any out. So I'm just getting some out on here. I might take a couple of coats, but so let's see what we can do. Wider and then go thin, like it's a carroty nose. And it doesn't have to be straight because carrots are rarely straight. There we go, his carroty nose. There we go. Do we want him to have a mouth? He could be solemn or he could be smiling. Let's go. Let's see. See if we can put him some little stone mouth in. Yep, he's got a little grin. Little grin. There. There you go. So I did notice that over along this side, he needs some white. Bring up the white there, just to outline our snowman. Outline our snowman. Give him some definition. If you want to add arms, you can. Let's see. Should we give him some stick arms? We've got brown out here. Okay, I got that's a little liquidy, which is good. We'll just pull. I'm going to deepen it a little bit. Just put a touch of black in it. Touch more. Let's see if we can do this. Give him some branching arms. Let's see, coming from in here. And then up this way. Kind of gets blended into, excuse me, that. So I might go in with a little bit of lighter color and branch. There. There's his branchy arms. So now you have a snowman. I see a little spot where his hat isn't blending down into. There we go. So that's totally optional. I just thought I'd have fun with that little portion. And you could also go in and paint you a little cardinal if you wanted instead. A little cardinal on the fence. It's basically a U with a little bit of spot on top. And let's lay these side by side. They have come out different, yet the same. I need to see, make sure I'm done. Make sure I've got it all on here. I hadn't gotten to the part of putting snow on the pines in this one, but that's because the video I made of this one, I found out I didn't have my microphone on. So, that being said, there you have your winter barn landscape painting. I had thought about putting chickens out here just for fun, but we'll do that another time. Enjoy your barn painting.